Welcome to Make Shit Happen. This is episode number 194. Guys, this is another segment that I'm doing, like basically a number 4 is the 4th episode where I'm playing a lot of old guest highlights, and we have compiled them into an episode just to recap a lot of them. And this next clip I'm about to play is with a good friend of mine named Julio Garcia. Julio was in one of my earlier episodes, and he owns a restaurant in town called Ambreeze's Restaurant. He has now opened his 3rd restaurant since we spoke to him last. Has a great story, rags to riches. You know, guy came from Mexico as an immigrant, didn't speak English. He speaks on taking your time as an entrepreneur and always allowing life to help you grow, to develop your talents, get experiences, always be ready for opportunities, because opportunities never announce itself. You just have to be ready when time comes to grab that opportunity. Let's listen to this clip with Julio Garcia. You coming from the humble beginnings, coming to a different country at age 19, trying to go to school, do all that stuff, make yourself, better yourself, and the journey continues, but you're happy, the most happiest right now that you've ever been in life. What kind of message you have for the youth? Somebody who's sitting over here listening and they're like, you know what, I don't know what I'm looking for, but I want something. What kind of message would you give?
So this is something I preach to my staff daily because they're mostly young people. My one message to everybody is take your time. Allow life to help you grow. Develop your talents first. And I can say this with confidence, Sam. Big breaks, big opportunities in life will come to everybody. I don't care who you are or where you come from. Whether you come from a broken family or addiction, it doesn't matter who you are. Big breaks will come. The challenge is, would you be ready for it? Will you develop these years and months and sometimes decades developing yourself so when the opportunity comes, you're ready for it? Or would you spend all this time blaming life and not taking advantage of opportunities, not investing in yourself, so when the opportunity comes, you will see it come and go, and you will continue doing what you do, blaming that, well, maybe I wasn't ready, and so take your time, enjoy what you do, be kind to yourself. Opportunities will come.
What is your view of humility? To be humble, what do you think about that?
To be humble is, I think it's to serve, to be kind to people.
And why is that important?
Oh man, it's everything in life. I think myself, I have found the most joy when I'm serving, when I'm kind to others, when I see that reaction. So I don't know how much time I have left, but I have a story.
Tell us.
I had one restaurant in Vintage, and I remember seeing this guy got dropped off by Metro, and he was in a wheelchair. And I saw him go from restaurant to restaurant, right, in a wheelchair. And he was moving his wheelchair with his mouth, with his head. And I saw him go from place to place, and he finally came into my restaurant. And the hostess came and got me, and it's like, hey, Mr. Julio, they want to talk to you. So I go up to the gentleman. Hi, how are you? And the guy said, I'm hungry. I said, okay. How can I help you? He says, I'm hungry. I have money, but nobody will feed me. And I said, no. Have a seat. And I remember vividly, I held the menu. I asked him what he wanted. I ordered his meal. And he was paralyzed from the neck down. But he was hungry. And ordered the food. I took my time and fed him. Right? It was a little embarrassing to me, I'm not going to lie. Because he didn't feel stuff, so I would feed him, and then half of the food would come out of his mouth, and I had to clean it. But to this day, I am very proud of that moment, right? I fed the guy, and the guy had money to pay. He wasn't begging for a free meal. He just wanted somebody to feed him, and that to me is being a human, right? Putting other people first, outside of what maybe you're ashamed of or your shortcomings, and that what helps you grow. And I can tell you, Sam, that's who I am. My wife came to me and one day out of nowhere and says, "You know what? I love you more today than I ever have." And I said, "Where does that come from?" It says, "I went to get my hair, and the lady who did my hair told me a story about you." I'm like, "And I don't remember this." She says she was in an accident. She had both of her arms in a cast. She couldn't move them. But she went in there and she was hungry. And she said that you spent the time and fed her. And she will never forget that act of kindness. Right? To me, being a human, being humble, means understanding that you're here to serve others. That's the biggest joy in life. It's not money, it's not vehicles, it's not recognition, right? I seeing my wife looking at me with such admiration, with such love, made me realize that that's the key, right? I don't have kids of my own today. We're working on it. But one of the main reasons we're working on it is because I want my kids to enjoy the fruits of my doing, right? And I don't want them to enjoy the cars away. I want them to go around and say, "Hey, I know your dad. He was good to me."
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this clip as much as I did. The next one is with Michelle Seiler Tucker. Michelle, in this clip, Michelle speaks on why a lot of businesses are going out of businesses, and it's because companies stop doing what Michelle calls AIM to their processes. AIM stand for always innovate and market. Michelle explains that many businesses tend to get comfortable and run the same way for years. After a while, their customers die out of the same product, the same experience, and after the customers will move on to the next person who has innovated them for a different experience and could possibly lose a lifetime client, a lifetime customer. Let's listen to this clip because I think Michelle can explain it better than I can.
Like assets, inventory, we look at working capital because businesses have to have a working capital target. And working capital is a calculation of assets minus liabilities, 12 months trailing. And that working capital is made up of accounts receivables and inventory. So we want to make sure that business, because the buyer is going to make sure that when they buy that business, it's going to have sufficient working capital.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and not always cash. A lot of times business owners like, "Oh my gosh, I got $1 million in cash. I got to leave that in the bank." Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It depends. Is it an asset sale? Is it a stock sale? It just really depends. You might have to leave a part of it in which to substantiate that working capital target if you fall short in inventory or accounts receivables, but not the entire amount.
No, the Dharma. You also have a book called Sell Your Business, which you wrote before the Exit Rich. When you write these books, I mean, you've written, this is your second book, and
it's actually my third. The other one's not out yet.
You wrote a chapter in that Think and Grow Rich also. I'm sorry.
Correct? No, that's okay. And I got another book about growing wealth through acquisitions that's going to come out after this one.
Okay. So why do you write these books, and why do you educate? What makes you do that?
Well, I write the books. Number one, I love to write. I can write a book in 6 weeks. In fact, all my books I've written in 6 weeks. I love to write, number one. Number two, I love to educate. And you've said it several times on your show, business owners are naive in different areas. They go to a real estate agent to sell their business. They don't really think about their exit strategy or their processes. So I write the books to educate business owners and really to educate them, because it's shocking to me that M&A and brokering has been around forever. But when I speak at events with like 1,000 people, I ask, how many of you are familiar with a business broker, M&A advisor, and what we do? And maybe I see 10% of the hands go up. So a lot of business owners are not even aware of the services we provide. Plus, they're really not aware of what it takes to build a sustainable business that you can scale and sell. And that is your nest egg. That's your retirement fund. So I really write the books to educate. When I wrote Sell Your Business for More Than It's Worth in 2013 and did the research, I learned that 95% of all startups, 1 to 5 years, will go out of business. That's common knowledge, right? But when I wrote Exit Rich in 2019, 2020, I did the exact same research and learned that the business landscape has flip-flopped. And I guarantee you, business owners don't know this because the media doesn't talk about it. So now only 30% of those startups are actually going out of business. So Startup Nation, this is a great time for you to start your company because only 30% are going out of business. However, this is where it flip-flopped. Out of 27.6 million companies, those businesses that have been in business 10 years or longer, 70% of them are going out of business. 70. They're not exiting rich. They're exiting poor.
Michelle is so great in what she does, guys, and I loved what she said. I hope you do. I hope you did too. The next one is with a good friend of mine named Robert Harper. This young man is destined for greatness. I think he's a good motivational speaker. I've even invited Robert to come talk to my employees at my office. This is a great clip from Robert Harper. Speaks on how he's a firm believer on control the controllable. Robert states it's going to be situations where we can't control in life, how people treat you, pandemic, and much more. Robert learned how to control what he can, such as how he reacts to people, controls his habits, and at times even the environment in which he places himself. Let's listen to this clip with Robert Harper.
While going after your dreams, you may endure some hardship, you may endure some challenging moments, but control what you can control, right? Control what you can control. I'm a firm believer in controlling the controllables. You know, we can't control a pandemic. I can't control my spouse. I can't control different individuals in my life. If I try to, I began to become manipulative, right? And so what I want to do in order to maintain and fulfill my dreams, I want to control the controllables. So what that means is I can control my habits. I can control how I respond. I control how I show up. I can even control certain environments I place myself in, right? And so you want to control the controllables. So because here's the thing about it, Sam, you know, certain people in your life, they're going to offend you. They're going to misunderstand you. They're even going to judge you or criticize you for the good that you might do in life, right? But that's none of your business. That's none of your business at all. You have to stay focused. You got a dream. You got to stay focused. You got to stay mission minded, and you got to continue to be the light. That's what you have to do, because you got to say, like, I can't let somebody derail me from my dream. I can't allow someone to sabotage or interrupt my calling to serve humanity, or even show compassion on those that are misguided, right? Like, they may not understand my dream. So I have to continue to press forward and say, what can I do? What can I control so that I can answer the call to serve humanity and fulfill my dream?
I love that. Yeah. Robert, when you know, things can be hard, right? You've been going through a pandemic. Some people have lost their jobs. You know, people might have lost family. You know, due to the disease or the virus.
Yeah.
I mean, how does one just stay motivated towards their and keep focus on their dreams and mission and stuff like that, and still have a good character? What kind of message will you have for somebody like that?
Man, I was listening to something the other day, Sam, and I'm a firm believer in being positive, but I don't believe in being delusional, right? Like if his life is tough, say it's tough, you know? Yeah. Like, I'm not saying like you just wish that, you know, clouds and rainbows when it's raining and pouring, right? Like speak reality over your life. And I'm a firm believer in that. So I just tell people, like, call out reality, right? But also at the same time, you got to believe in the possibilities. If you have any hero or shero in your life, there are two things that they did to become victorious in your life. You just examine them and think about your heroes that they really inspired you, your sheroes that really inspired you. And what they did was, number one, they embraced the experience, the negative experience that may have come in their life, but they embraced a positive outcome in the future. Right? Those are two things they did. You know, our negative experiences, sometimes we try to shy away from and say, oh, I don't have any problems. I'm not going through anything. I'm tough. Everything is well. But that's not reality. Life is difficult. Life is challenging, and we suffer. And so what the key is to embrace the negative experience and say, hey, this is where I am. Life is difficult right now. And what that does for another individual is that inspires them, because they see, okay, hey, I've been there. I've gone down that road. I know that pain, right? When you lose a loved one, when you go through heartache, when you go through pain, I've been there. And so embrace that negative experience in life. But also what they were able to do is that when they were triumphant, when they got the victory, when they won, right? When they received the positive outcome, right? They held on to that because they knew that this is not only going to, I need to embrace the negative experience because that connects me to humanity, but I need to hold on to the positive outcome because that gives hope to humanity, right? And so you want to be able to connect and give hope to people. And the only way you can do that is embrace the pain. It's difficult, it's challenging. We know that, but it's called life. And when you embrace it and then when you win and you become victorious and you overcome, like you don't allow the thing to overcome you, when you receive your positive outcome, you give hope to humanity, right? So whenever you're going through whatever you're going through, you got to think about those things. That's how your family and your friends, your heroes and your sheroes were victorious in life. You know, personally, I try to live by two things: honor and hope. And what that means is that I try to live by a philosophy that says I'm going to honor those who came before me, right, and give hope to those who are coming after me, right? And so when I say honor, I realize that there are people who have come before me that laid a foundation, and I need to respect that, honor that, right? They have set a platform for me to be able to be in the position that I'm in today. But I also want to give hope to those that are coming after me, realizing that with every stronghold that I bring down, every hurt that I heal, every mental adjustment that I make, right, I am making the next generation's load a little bit lighter, right? So it's hope and honor for me, right? I can't just focus on me. I would tell somebody, if you're going through it, don't focus on you. Get somebody else on your mind and push through.
My next clip is with Jessica Hatch. In this clip, I speak with Jessica Hatch about accepting your blessings when they come. And she used to question why things happening to her in her favor. But after a while, she learned the more you bless people, the more you will be blessed. Let's listen to this clip about with Jessica Hatch. That you have this nonprofit, a foundation.
Yes.
Tell me about that, because
Yes.
because I love someone famous, and I don't know exactly, and I'm not quoting it verbatim. I need to look it up what this quote is, but basically it says that in life, you get what you get paid. But when you make other people's life by what you give, and the foundation, a nonprofit is just, it's all about giving. But
yeah, if you read, like I read Joel's Word every morning, and that is the exact message on it. It's like, you know, God will continuously put people in front of you to help, and then it's only going to help yourself. Like, you know, and not that I go around doing it because I'm like, oh, he's going to bless me more, but it's just so true.
But
it's
it will bless you more.
The doors that open for me, like sometimes I'm just like, that's crazy, you know? And I'm like, why me? And then I think, well, maybe because I just did that for that person or that, you know, like, and you know, it's a true thing. Like when people, you know, when you do for others, like it definitely not only makes you feel better, but it also, God's going to bless you, you know?
Definitely. What is the foundation called?
It's called the Hatching for Health Foundation.
Okay.
And it's, you know, obviously tied to the Hatching for Health show with me, your host, Jessica Hatch. And so just to kind of like give you the background on that name. So if you think about hatching, you think of an egg like hatching, and that's why this show is for children. So It's like hatching into better health, right? And then naturally my last name is Hatch, so it kind of goes together. But the foundation, I just got the 501c, everything done with, you know, the IRS and all that, like literally 5 months ago. So for a while I just had the show, and I anything I do with the show, it's right now just my money feeding into it. I don't have any sponsors or anything yet. And so, but I knew for me to really grow it, I needed to actually be like a nonprofit and have like the right paperwork in place and everything. And so I did just that, you know, so I can truly help people, because, you know, there's a lot of people out there that, you know, long for opportunities and something might hit home for them. And then that's when they're like, hey, I want to donate to that child I saw on your show. I think that there's, you know, more in-depth research that can be done. So let me team up and help through your foundation. Perfect.
So basically, let's say if you bring somebody on your show, a child who has a disease or is sick or or whatever they have, someone wants to donate it or any money and help them, they can help them through your foundation, Hatching for Health Foundation.
100%. It's 100%, tax write-off for them. And it's like all going to the child. Right now, 100% goes to the children. And then if I'm doing anything like an event or something of that nature, like a portion would go to that, but I don't actually pocket anything. Right now, I just put money into it from my own business.
That's really great. And people should know about something like that, because if a lot of nonprofit organizations, there's some good ones out there, but there's a lot of them that only 60% or 65% goes to help people, or some even 50%.
Yeah.
So when you say that 100% of that is going to help that child or that person, to help them, that's something big.
Yeah.
That's huge.
No,
That's
definitely.
huge.
It's definitely, and I want to bring up a story right now, because it's currently a situation that we're trying to help a little girl. She's from the Philippines, and I got a phone call Thanksgiving week from a gentleman. He's a part of a company called Pt.4, where they do like emergency. They go into countries that have like catastrophes, like tsunami or explosion or whatever, and they fly right in, and they're all like medically trained paramedics, and they just basically help people. They save their lives, right? And they fly in on helicopters. So they are doing a lot in the Philippines. And this little girl is someone that became close to them. And she's 10 years old, and she's got a heart condition that needs like basically surgery within 1 month. So he called me about it and was like, I remember meeting you at a medical conference. Do you still have Hatching for Health? I'm like, yes, of course. This is February of this year. And so he said, well, I don't know if you can help, but I know you have a lot of relationships in Houston, and maybe even other states. He's like, the child needs basically a cardiac thoracic surgeon to do a heart surgery on her. He's like, our biggest thing is the cost. Like, we're going to fly her there as part of Pt.4's, basically on them. But we need the right doctor and hospital and anesthesia to either do it as a charitable case or give us a really good price point that we can then raise money for. So I'm right now basically tasked to help her. So I have like a quote from actually an Austin doctor in the works, and then one here in Houston for Children's Memorial Hospital. We do have one from Texas Children's, but it's pretty high. And so we're just basically trying to get the lowest number possible, and then my GoFundMe will go up for her. And again, 100%. So right now our highest quote's $159,000 for her surgery. I think that between the other two will fall in a little lower. But it's a life-saving surgery. Like, it's not something where she can wait till next year. Next year's around the corner, but they literally are like, you need to have this surgery this month. And her name is Esther Faith Batillo. If you look at my phone, she's actually my screensaver right now.
So if someone wants to donate, if someone is listening, someone is watching me on Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, and they want to donate, how can they do it?
Yeah, so they basically go to the hatchingforhealth.org website, and there's like donate now tab. And they can donate right there.
Guys, one thing in life I've learned, and one thing that I have, basically, one thing what I have done to myself is this thing that I live by, and it's called expect nothing and appreciate everything. And when you appreciate it, accept it. And that's something that has made me happier in life for myself. I don't expect anything from anybody, and I hope you do too. I wanted to tell you this about because of this last clip I played with Jessica, and when you don't expect anything, nobody will let you down. You just appreciate if there's a blessing, if something comes your way. Well, the next clip is with Warren Broadnax. Warren is a great entrepreneur. He is a half owner of She's Happy Hair. She's Happy Hair basically sells hair weave products for women, and I love the story. He started his business from the trunk of his car, and we speak about how a lot of people's how people a lot of times see other success and things that the life of an entrepreneur. But Warren speaks on taking L's such as he owns, like opening up locations just to close them down, not getting paid for months as entrepreneur, be ready for L's, but embrace them and learn, because it's neatly impossible to not take L, which is a loss as an entrepreneur. Let's listen to this clip with Warren Broadnax. We talked about L's over here. Everybody, when they see it, They say, you know what, man, oh my God, this store is making so much money. I got to do something like that. And they see the W's only. They don't see the L's. Tell me something about the L's.
You know, you got to understand when you're in any business, you're the last to get paid. Sometimes you don't. You know, the customers get paid before you. Uncle Sam gets paid before you. Sometimes you don't. We've opened up locations in smaller cities and closed locations in smaller cities. We've brought on the wrong type of people that's stolen, that's tried to mimic the brand, that's tried to mimic the business model. We've had employees that came in and kind of stolen from us and learned from those lessons. I think as in life, an entrepreneur in life general, you just got to get used to the L's. You got to embrace them. And you got to own up to them. You know, you got to find a way to find some fault in it on yourself and have that humility that way. And then you have to take the accountability to change that behavior. And every L is different. And you're going to in there. And it's impossible not to lose. Impossible.
Now, you touched on something. And, you know, I was on a podcast on this Flex Coach a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, there's one question that he asked me. How do you deal with people when they when they come to you and they want to learn from you? They act like they're your friend. They act like they are compassionate towards you and all that other stuff. But in reality, they're there with their own agenda. How do you deal with something like that?
Man,
it gotta put the pressure and gotta say, you know, discourage you. So how do you deal with that?
The first time, probably the first few times, was very discouraging because you just weren't looking at it from a business mindset. It was more emotional, and you got to learn not to have an emotional attachment or emotional reaction. I just look at it like this, man. I honestly feel like I'm here to inspire people. And those people were inspired by you. Despite their intentions, despite how they went about it, they were inspired by you. So when somebody comes as a man and sells hair, you can imagine how many people try to mimic it and get close to me and figure out what I'm doing in secret sauce and try it again. I don't give them any energy, man. I wish them well. I just know that I'm here to inspire people. So you can't decide how people use that inspiration.
Yeah.
Everybody don't have the purest heart. You know, one of my favorite lyrics out of a rap verse was like, I hope your opportunity survives the opportunist. Because you got to know when you make an opportunity that people start looking at or become successful, the opportunists are going to come. So, and you cannot afford to give them that energy back. You got to keep going. The marathon continues. You got to stick on the way. Usually they'll take care of themselves anyway.
Warren, we have something in common because my answer was along the same line. And, you know, I told him, you be you, don't focus on them because people are going to come take advantage of you. You just be you. So, I mean, you know, we had a very similar answer. And I mean, you know, I'm kind of glad we on the same wavelength over there. And, you know, being in business, there's so many challenges every day. And I mean, you got to have your core team. You got to have your team. Tell me a little bit about your team. How do you form your team? What do you think about? I mean, you know.
Well, initially, it was me and Marcus when we started. Then I started to add. I just felt like when I attained some success, I owed it to the people around me. Like, I don't want to be successful, the people around me are. So I brought in a lot of people that were close to me and added them on the core team. Some are still here. Some were opportunists, you know, and we took big L's and lawsuits and all of that from them. And right now, when I'm adding people on the team, I got great people and Anita and, you know, a lot of my managers. I just look for people who are culture fit, people who are hungry. You know, work ethic is everything to me. I don't mind failing. Failing is a part of it. I just want people who are loyal and who are willing to like go into the trenches with me. And also when you're building your team, find people who are good at not what you're good at, right?
So you said failing is a part of it, you know, and everybody should face failure. Like, if you have to say common, like mistakes, are mistakes failure?
Yes, for
Why?
Sure. Because you're taking an L. Yeah, you taking an L, man. Yeah, for sure.
You know, well put right there.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like mistakes you're going to make mistakes, learn from them.
Right.
That's it. They are failures.
Yeah.
Learn from them.
Right.
Get better.
Right.
So this next one is with Crystal Sarmiento, good friend of mine. Talk with Crystal about self-doubt, and she believes most people have some type of doubt in their lives. Let's listen to this clip with Crystal Sarmiento. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this clip with Crystal. I always talk about, you know, someone asked me the other day, hey, you know, what do you think about self-doubt? And I told him, I'm like, you know, it's just, I'll tell you what I said. Okay. But, you know, do you ever battle with self-doubt?
All the time.
So what do you do about it?
All the time.
You want to do something and you doubt yourself. What do you do?
So it's not as easy as, boom, here's an answer. It depends what I'm doubting and how I'm going to overcome that. Being in sales, being a mom, being all the things that, that make the essence of Crystal. I've been through a lot of obstacles in life. And so doubt is something we all face. Every day you wake up and you have decisions to make, right? Do I want to go to the gym? Do I want to cook dinner? Do I want to just buy McDonald's? Do I want to do this? Do I want to step out on a limb and write this book? Do I want to be vulnerable to the entire world about very, very tough situations in my life? How do we doubt ourselves? Doubt will come and scream and destroy your mind if you let it. It's about the renewing of your mind, and it's about having a strong will to not allow doubt to become a root or deep-seated root inside your core. To me, you either choose to let that doubt sink in and you feed it, or you stop it right there and you replace that with something positive or think about something powerful. For me, when I doubt myself, I psych myself out. I'm like, I can do this. And you know what? That comes back to fear. Why am I doubting myself, right? And so what if I do it? Finding that courage to say it's okay to fail, right? Doubt isn't the end of the world. Doubt sometimes can be super healthy, right? And doubt is actually a good thing because it makes you double check yourself. It makes you look back and say, all right, what do I need to do to overcome this doubt? Or maybe this is just my insides telling me, my inner core saying, tap the brakes, look at the situation. How do I fix it, right? It's an opportunity. Doubt can be an opportunity.
Doubt can be an opportunity. Yeah. So, you said, maybe I fail. Have you ever faced any failures in life that you'll be like, man, I wish I would have done that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Who are we kidding? I mean, no one's perfect. I'm far from perfect. I think I make massive mistakes a lot. I've failed hard, but I've also gotten up hard. I think one of the key things to me and to who I am is the Bible. It says 7 times you'll fall, but 7 times you'll get back up, right? So that gives you permission to say you're going to fail, but you're also going to get back up. An example of failing is losing my temper with my children. Sometimes I like to be the cheerleader of raising powerful women, but at the same time, I fail on a daily basis. I lose my temper. I'm a strong believer in what you call your kids or your family members is going to impart into them who they are. And sometimes I fail at that. Clearly I failed in picking, my first partner. I mean, those choices, you know what, but not all the failures have been detrimental. None of them have killed me. And they've all taught me lessons, and they've made me stronger. And they've taught me that it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes, but you learn from them.
So you mentioned a couple of times about empowering women and stuff like that. So what I know that you're involved in some of the movements over here in town, or some or say some organizations. Tell us a little bit about what do you.
So, for me, in this day and age, you can count like 12 different organizations online that have the name of Houston, that want to like really empower women, and they scream or they use that tagline to sell clothing or articles or whatever to draw attention to it. I love women empowerment. But by no means does that mean that we bash men, right? Again, there's a healthy balance. Women empowerment to me is giving women the opportunity to find that lioness inside of them, to reach for the stars, to be able to, learn and teach them, not just say, oh, we're going to get together and we're going to scream women empowerment. It's more than that. It's like, how do you empower yourself? Where do you get that empowerment from? What is your source of empowerment? Is it just like, hey, I want to use this banner and fly it high? No, it's let's come together, and how do we help each other? How do we lift each other up? Which is difficult because women are known for being catty, not like dudes. Dudes will get in a fight, just like on a football field, and then they make up tomorrow, and then boom, they're drinking beers the next day. Women are more emotional. Women are more territorial. And I think that we really need to be pioneers to break down that barrier and say it's okay to lift each other up. There's power in that. There's power in lifting your fellow sister up and saying, how can I help you? What are some of the goals that you want to reach? How can we come around you and help you meet those? But also creating a safe place for women to come and be like, oh my God, I almost wanted to choke my husband today. And being able to bring that to the surface and talk to somebody who's not going to judge you and be like, oh, so-and-so's having marital problems. Everybody has problems.
But women
Quit
are so
acting.
judgmental too.
Women tend to be very judgmental, but that's from a source of insecurity. It all comes from that source of, am I going to lose something? Or your fear. It's all fear-based. And so if we can come together and kind of like strip that back and help people, or women for the most part, it's okay. It's totally okay. But to answer your question, I recently joined forces with an amazing organization. There's multiple that I'm very fond of, but Houston Businesswoman. I absolutely love the message, the foundation. Not only that, but the members. Everybody that's come together. Everybody supports each other. I have seen other types of organizations that there's a little bit of cattiness, but this one even more so has opened the doors for other people who are doing the same thing to come together and partner.
Guys, this next clip is with Jeremy Brown. Me and Jeremy spoke about and he said how you should not let your past determine your future. He tells a story about how he found his disciplinary action report from high school, and it shows that he got expelled. He took a photo of that because he keeps it as a reminder that no matter where you come from, what happens to you in the past, it does not determine your future. It's a great clip. I hope you enjoy it.
And so for me, I'm definitely a what's next kind of guy, right? You check the box. Okay, what's next? I don't sit on success very long. When I get to the top of that mountain, I'm looking around to see who's on what mountain peak around me that I can go, I'm going up there.
Gotcha.
But it can all get started with just one step.
So Jeremy, tell me about your military background.
Yep. So 3 years, U.S. Army, Airborne Infantry. That's pretty much it. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we appreciate your services.
It was a lot of fun. I never deployed. I was stationed at Fort Hood with a mechanized unit. I got out a little bit before the deployments all kind of fired up. But, I joined at 17. I got kicked out of high school, 9th grade, and never been to college, none of that fun stuff. So I didn't get to enjoy those experiences. And my 18th birthday, I actually got my head put in a toilet where some grown men had taken a dump and flushed for my 18th birthday in basic training. So welcome to adulthood. Here's a turd.
Wow, that's crazy. So tell me what. So then you joined the Army after that?
I joined at 17. Yep.
You joined at 17.
Yep. I got kicked out of 9th grade. My parents put me in this little Christian homeschool, and I kind of blew through that as best I could. And parents signed for me. My mom signed for me to join the Army.
Why did you get kicked out of school, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, drinking alcohol in the school bus.
Okay. Okay, that would do that.
There's that, right?
So you were a great kid. You were.
Yeah, I was a good kid. I think I was a good kid. I was a smart kid. I never applied myself as this is going off what my mom told me.
You just wanted to drink some alcohol.
Yeah, I took
Who brought the booze?
I did.
Oh,
Took it
you
out of
did.
my parents' wine box. I think my mom may still have that box for that the wine came out. It was box wine. It wasn't even good wine, right?
Oh, it wasn't even good wine.
and so it's funny because not long ago when all this COVID stuff happened, I started kind of going through. My mom is notorious for keeping everything. Spelling tests from 3rd grade. I'm like, Mom, do we need to keep that? And so in there was my disciplinary action report from my freshman year of high school. I got kicked out in about March. And I took a picture of it one day because to me, that's my reminder of it doesn't matter what you've done. Whether it's success or failure, it doesn't matter what you've done. Tomorrow is a new day to create, right? And so if you looked at that, that's the path of someone who's going to end up probably in jail or into bad stuff.
Yeah.
And luckily for me, I had the ambition at the age 11, 12 to join the Army, and that's the direction I went, full force. That shaped who I am now, or helped to shape it. And so I keep that near my desk because that disciplinary action report is a reminder of yesterday doesn't matter. If you won yesterday, cool. Celebrate yesterday. What's today?
What's today?
And I had a conversation earlier with him, and it was today you're either better or worse than you were yesterday. You're never the same, never neutral. Tomorrow you're gonna be better or worse. The next day you're gonna be better or worse than that day. Right? So you're never the same day after day. And that's what that paper reminds me is it doesn't matter your mistakes. It doesn't matter your faults. It doesn't matter your failures. It doesn't matter your wins. It doesn't matter your successes because today it's a brand new day.
That's absolutely true. Guys, this sums up our recap number 4 and episode number 194. If you follow us, if you're a subscriber on Apple Podcasts, please rate us and review us. We really count on your ratings and reviews, and we hope you enjoyed this episode and hope you keep supporting Make Shit Happen podcast and keep joining us in the future to listen more episodes. Thank you. Now let's go out there and make shit happen.